This meeting is a ad hoc committee meeting of Tuesday, July 26th. And we have two items for discussion. Do you want to go? We don't have to go do the flag salute and.
No, we don't.
Yeah, my mic prayed yesterday for all the meetings this month, so.
Nolani, can you pull up the agenda, please, Nolani, so everyone can see it?
Sure, give me a second. I was just about to email committee member Lester to remind her of the meeting, and you asked me for the agenda, so hang on.
Okay.
Okay, here we are. Screen. If you'll let me know that you see that.
Yes, we can see it.
Thank you.
And then can you pull up the staff report for B1?
B1, yes.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So even though the board has not officially adopted the 3-cart system, it's highly likely that's going to be approved eventually by the board. So today's meeting was really to talk about the logistics. How are we going to roll out the 3rd cart, the blue cart, and then most importantly, how are we going to educate? What's the outreach plan to educate the public? Because this is going to be a change in behavior, and as we learned from when we implemented the organic recycling program, you know, we had very successful town hall meetings. We had extremely successful outreach effort with social media, newsletter, flyers, you know, going to special events. You know, so when we rolled out the organic recycling program, I think we only got 1 or 2, maybe very minimal calls saying, well, what is this about? Everyone knew about it. So we kind of want to have that type of success with the blue cart. So this morning, I'll have Nabila go over the staff report with you of the proposed logistic plan to roll out the blue carts, as well as what we're considering for outreach, and then hear the committee's suggestions and comments on our proposals. So Nabila, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the Solid Waste Ad Hoc Committee. The new 3-cart service will begin July 1st, 2023. District staff decided to push the transition date a year to adequately prepare for the change in service. We need to order the recycling carts, acquire new trucks, and provide residents with as much education and outreach as possible so that they know that the recycling carts are coming, but then also that they adequately sort their trash, just so we don't see a lot of cross-contamination. Included in the staff report is a tentative timeline of logistical plans and outreach efforts that will be performed. They begin August, so in a few days, through July 1st, 2023. I can go over every part of the timeline, or I can just answer any questions.
Once you go through what you wrote down in the staff report, Nabila.
Okay, perfect. So first, we need to conduct a cart audit. Our current service is 4 carts, 2 mixed waste, and up to 2 organics. But there was a point in 2016, before 2016, that the district would purchase all the mixed waste carts. And those are the 90 gallons that say Costa Mesa Recycles for You. And those were given out as many as you wanted. I think it's when they transitioned from using just regular Home Depot trash containers to the automated service. So CRNR has tried to keep accurate records, but we know that residents may have more than the 2 and not paying the 3rd cart fee for any additional carts. So between August 8th and September 7th, CRNR is hiring a 3rd-party vendor, and they will drive through the service area and log the number of carts at each home by size and waste stream. And that will be compared with what's currently in CRNR system. Audit results are expected to be available to share with the district by the end of September. This is a very important step in rolling out the third cut system because we need to know what every home has. We need to know how much time we need to collect any extra cards, and then just for accurate billing going forward. After that is completed, from November to December, we will roll out organic carts to currently exempt homes. In 2015, when the recycling program was rolled out, it was made optional. It was not mandatory. So residents could email or send letters to the district saying, I don't have a yard, I live by myself, I don't produce a lot of food waste, and they were allowed to be exempt from participating. And there are also very dense parts of the city where there just would not be space for additional organic carts. So they were exempt without residents having to mail in a letter. There are roughly 2,000 homes not currently participating in the program that will need to be issued an organics recycling cart. Because they have not been participating since 2015, we are hoping to give them a 35-gallon organics recycling cart and then work with them on how to properly use it, what goes in the cart, and have them be prepared for their first day of service. So this will take us through December, and we are waiting because CRNR does have to order the 35-gallon recycling carts. That is not a standard size. And it also means that we need to add a new route. 2,000 homes is a lot. Our current routes would not be able to handle this many homes. So we need a new truck, a new driver to be able to manage this route. We are hoping that their first collection day will start January 2023. CRNR will be sending mailers that will start in January. We're hoping to send them two. The first one will let them know about the service change, extra cart fees, expected delivery dates of their new recycling cart. The first mailing will focus on extra carts and giving them instructions to residents to contact CRNR. So after the audit, we will compile the results, and every home will say, based on our audit and our records, it says that you have 3 mixed waste, 1 organics, whatever the case may be. And we are hoping to integrate a QR code in the mailer where residents can just go scan it. It'll take them to a website where they can either confirm or update whatever they do have at home. Residents will also be able to call in if they don't want to use the website to confirm their services. This was done in Newport Beach recently with their change to a 3-cart system. So based on the similar processes in Newport, CRNR is recommending giving trash customers a 45 days to contact CRNR before they are billed for the additional carts. In March, CRNR will send an additional mailer to residents notifying them of the 3-cart system and providing a schedule of the new recycle carts that will be delivered. And this will include information of what goes in each cart. From the delivery of recycling carts will be delivered between May and June 2023. CRNR expects delivery to take between 4 to 6 weeks. And in June, CRNR will have an additional team in place to put labels on all the existing mixed waste carts with landfill stickers to educate residents on what to place in their new black cart. At this time, CRNR will also be removing any second or more mixed waste carts that are not wanted by the resident and don't want to be paid for. And then July 1st would be the first day of service of the new 3-cart system. But on the district side, from January through June, CMSD will focus on the SB 1383 and 3-cart system education. We will create a dedicated webpage for audit changes, FAQs, service information. We will boost social media posts and create Google, YouTube ads. Staff has also discussed holding town hall meetings during March and April to help prepare residents. So we have thought about visiting, not just having the town hall meetings at district headquarters, but maybe at public libraries, just us meeting the residents near their homes just to make it easier and help them attend the meetings. That concludes the report. I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
Bob, I have a couple of quick questions, okay?
Sure.
Couple things, Nabila. I'm a little concerned about the audit, the cart audit. A visual, I from my standpoint, I have 2 organics and 2 mixed waste. I don't put those out every week. So explain to me how CRNR is gonna be able to look at
Capture
their
that?
current records versus their visual audit. Why don't we just use the current? Why do a visual audit if we already know what people have?
We don't know what people have. Those records are inaccurate.
Okay.
So the site visits will be completed over a few weeks, just to say you might put 2 out one week,
yeah,
and then the next week it'll be like, oh, he put 3 out.
Yeah.
So it's not going to capture, it's not going to be 100% accurate. But current CRNR records, we know for a fact are not accurate because of when the automated contract went into service, so many carts were given out and not kept track of.
okay. The second thing I had, when I was reading the staff report, I guess I wasn't aware, or maybe I missed it. On the organics exemptions, there's no more exemptions. Everyone's gonna get an organic cart, whether they want it or not. I think that's gonna be a big hurdle for us. I think we're gonna have to use as many kid gloves as we can to make sure people understand it. And one of the points I was gonna make is, as we do this educational program, Scott, I agree with you that that's gonna be the most important thing that we do. And I really think that as we approach this, we're gonna get a lot of negative, oh, I've got another cart, there's more trucks on the street. As we do our education, I really think we need to focus on what this does for the environment and what the really positive effects of having that blue cart now are. If we can minimize and get rid of all the negative as much as we can, it'll be an easier sell job for us.
Yep.
So I think we're gonna get a lot of pushback from those people who don't want the organics, but you guys can handle that. The last point I wanted to make is,
Mike, can I weigh in on that?
yeah, Bob, I'm sorry.
No, I had a similar thought. I believe that if we can give them a very thorough explanation about how it will help them, how taking that cart helps them by helping us. They can take the cart, and if they understand that it's meaningful, why is it meaningful for them to have the cart? They may take it, and it would lessen the angst that you're talking about, Mike.
Yeah.
And what it is I think, Nabilia, what it is regulations require, or we're hoping to get, say 90% use of the organic carts. And that has a benefit to us, and then eventually a benefit to them. So 90% penetration means that, it's a less onerous fining policy, and, there are less onerous, there's less administrative work for us, and basically that means minimizing costs to them. So I think those are the kinds of things that, will sell some people on saying, okay, I'll just take the cart and I'll put it in my garage, or I'll just take the cart and I'll, I don't have a need for it, but I'll take it. Just
Yeah.
to help the community out.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, those kinds of things are what'll sell a bunch of people on that cart.
Yeah.
Agreed. Staff had planned with the Cal Recycle Organics SB 1383 grant. We will be hiring an intern that will kind of be tasked with enrolling all these 2,000 homes. So that intern will be the point of contact along with Mike Gary, and they will visit the homes prior to the delivery of the cart and then do a site visit on the first week, just to again encourage, explain why we need to do this, explain SB 1383, and explain that, you know, in the near future, there will be citations.
Yeah, I
And
think
just
that
kind of help them through their, any,
Yeah.
you know, any kind of pushback.
Well, but they may not have organics, or they may not have food waste to put in an organics card. So I mean, you know, I think it's a tricky explanation. And an intern's gonna have to know it, you know, pretty thoroughly.
But I think just even having someone that the public can contact will go a long way to ease some of that angst like we talked about. I
Yeah,
mean, just having someone dedicated to that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying or getting their comments and saying, let me get back to you. And I'm sure that intern will. The last point I wanted to make, Nabila, was in the timeline, they're going to start getting their recycling carts in March, right? We're not picking them up until July. That's going to cause some issues as well. People will be putting stuff in those blue carts and putting them out by the curb
yeah.
way before July. I guarantee we're going to get some number of people that are going to put it out anyway. How is CR&R going to deal with that?
So the delivery of carts will be May through June 2023. It'll take 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So that's when district staff can step in and say, you will get it, but your first day of service will not be, you know, July 1st, July 5th, 6th, and 7th. So we'll need to step up communication and outreach of you're getting it. You can start putting your cardboard, you know, recycling waste does not really spoil or smell. You can start adding things, but your first day of service won't, you know, could be 4 to 5 weeks from now. We will be asking for, you know, elected officials' help, CAC, the council, city council, to share these messages just to kind of reinforce of you may get your cart a few weeks before service.
Okay,
We can look into that again. There's definitely, I share the same concerns, but let Nabila and I talk to CNR some more. I want to get to, if it's okay, President Rosemary has been patient. She had her hand up. Is it okay we hear from her?
Sure.
Thank you all. I agree completely with all the comments that I've heard here. I do think that messaging and outreach is important. And I had hoped to have met in person because I have some, and I don't think you can see this, but it is outreach material. It's a 8.5 by 11, yep, it's not coming up, card that describes what goes in each bin, and then attached on the back is a refrigerator magnet. So you can take this off and it shows what goes in each bin. Also is a guide, and it shows, and this is from another city, but it does show the three cart system, and it's describing what goes in each cart, and it will help. You can keep this in your kitchen drawer in case you have questions, but it's also got that QR code, so you can link to the website to get additional information. And I do think that it's important. I do believe that the majority of the customers will want to recycle, so to better provide information on how they can help will help them do their part. And then I know that what some systems have done to encourage recycling, even for those who are not interested in recycling or saving the earth or the environment or any of that, is using the rate structure so that the cost of bins for organics and the cost of bins for recycling materials is cheaper than the carts that are going to the landfill. So that way, if I'm separating out and all my organics are going in the organics cart and all my recyclables are going in the recyclable cart, I can then afford to have a very small landfill cart. So financially, I'm being incentivized to help this process along. Those are my comments for now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In addition, I would say, maybe you said this, Nabila, but when we deliver those carts to the neighbors, something should be attached that says these carts won't be picked up until July 1 of 2020, whatever it is, whenever the service starts. You know, may give them all the help they can get. Because if they start putting them out and they're not picked up, although I've seen CR&R pick up the big waste bins, the white ones and the green one or whatever, blue ones, you know, with the same truck, because the city has not, our city did not, and maybe they do now, did not have their ordinance making the vendor do the right thing. And so they just came along and they picked both the white bin and the regular trash bin up at the same time. I've seen that quite a bit, and that was the explanation the city or somebody gave me, maybe CR&R gave me, that you know, this city is not prepared, not educated the people, and has not made the vendor do the right thing. Anyway, Nabil, you're getting way on top of it, and I appreciate your hard work.
Well, thank you. Well, these are all good comments, suggestions that I wrote down, and I know Nabila has done it too. So, yeah, I think I agree. I think the key is the outreach. I do believe the town halls were effective. I think that could be effective again. My concern is the same with if we start rolling out the blue carts in March and June, people are going to want to use them right away. I don't, Nabila, maybe you know we need to sit down and talk about that again. But yeah, the outreach is great. Rosemary, if it's possible, could you drop off those samples to us one day, or we can come by and pick them up?
Of course, I can drop them off later on today, I believe.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
This is Sue Lester. Can I make a comment, please?
Oh, hi,
Don't
Sue.
let her. No, she's late. She can't comment.
Sue, go ahead.
I know you guys can't control obviously what the city does, but if we could convince the city to have some type of unifying message, because the district is working really hard to figure out the best ways to get people to sign on and, you know, be on board with the 3-cart system and kind of changing their ways. When we have such a small percentage of our service area that isn't complying, where the city has everybody else who hasn't been doing it all along. And I'm afraid that a very large hiccup to getting our people, our ratepayers to sign on is going to be the other segments of the city that have not been participating in a 3-cart system, saying that they don't have to do it because they're not getting the information. And I hate to see all the hard work being done by the Sand District be kind of undone or have a roadblock thrown up because the city is not giving the same message or the same information to the rest of the people that now have to change their ways.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we're going to try to do some kind of coordination with the city. Would they follow through? That's a different issue, but at least we could try to do some kind of coordination with the city. Yeah, thank you, Sue.
And if there's a way I can help, because I live in an area that is not serviced by the Sand District for solid waste, and my mother lives in an area that is. So I see plainly, very up close, the significant differences between the two. And I'm worried about that being a big hurdle.
Sure. Yeah. Agreed.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, yeah. I've been taught over the years that it needs to be told to a person 3 times before they get it. And, I demonstrated that to myself when I used to go pick up my wife at her college. And I would drive down the street that said, go slow, there's kids here. And then I saw it again, go slow, there's kids here. The 3rd time it clicked, and I slowed down. So you guys have you've got to get it in front of them so many different ways. And I think Nabila said something about, I don't know, people emailing or mailing something in. There's a certain segment of our population that probably do not even know how to respond by mail or email. I can't tell you how many times I've told the same, 2 of my older friends which holidays are going to be, the trash service is going to be late. They just don't get it. Then anyway, I think you've got the beginnings of a very good plan.
It was the 3rd
Thank you,
time you
President.
picked up. Did you get a speeding ticket the 3rd time you picked up, Cheryl? Is that why you learned?
No, but I should have. Well, no, the 3rd time I shouldn't have gotten one. The first 2 times I should have.
I just to reiterate what you said, I like the plan you guys are moving to. I really appreciate this timeline because it draws a lot of focus to what we need to do. And I really like what Rosemary said with the stickers. And if you want to get to somebody and you want to get a message to anybody, you put those stickers 2 places, either on the trash can or on the refrigerator. I mean, with me, maybe I could stick it on my big screen TV or something, but I think, we've all been patterned growing up to look on the refrigerator for notices. So I really think that's a really good suggestion.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Well, do any of the directors or the ad hoc committee have any more questions or input on the outreach, the logistics and outreach program? I would say that most of the residents probably have experienced the 3-cart system somewhere. So I would say it'll be able to be adopted in the time frame that you were mentioning. It's just they have to know when it starts, and they probably already know how to properly use it. But
That's interesting you said. We've had a little bit of movement in our neighborhood with new residents coming in, and people that know that I'm on the board have asked me, how come I only have 2 different carts?
yeah,
Even my son who moved from Santa Margarita, I think CR&R does Rancho Santa Margarita, Scott. They have like 4 carts, I think. So there is, you're right, Bob. There's a certain percentage of people that are used to having more than what we give them.
yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, any more input by the ad hoc committee? So going to item number 2, they discuss the proposed ordinance and operations codes edit.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'll turn this over to Nabila in a second, but the reason why we put this item on the agenda is to get feedback from the committee if you're okay with, or if you're comfortable allowing some amendments to our code, our ordinance regarding to storing trash carts in public view, because we've heard it already that once we give out another cart, people are going to say, well, I don't have enough space, right? I don't have any space for this. And so we want to get feedback from this committee into the board eventually. Do you want us to keep to the spirit of the law, maintain the spirit of the law, which means if the cart is in any kind of public view, whether it's on the side of the house, the front of the house, in the curb, whatever, if it's in public view, then it violates this code? Or are you willing to amend the code and give us discretion on what we consider to be public view? In other words, maybe there's a little alley on the side of the house that they can store their cart. Technically, it's still public view, but it's on the side of the house. Would you be okay if we said that's fine? You know, those are kind of issues we want to hash that out today. I also invited Dave Griffin, our code enforcement officer. He's here today. He's kind of explains to you what he's seeing out there as far as how they're storing their carts in public view. You know, so we want to have that discussion. And if you are comfortable for us amending the code to giving us discretion on what we view as public view, then we'll come back to a study session meeting with a proposed ordinance and make it through the round. So right now we just want to have that discussion. Are you comfortable with that? So Nabila, do you have anything else to add? Do you want to add on to that?
No, you pretty much covered it. Like Scott said, this came from feedback received at the Citizens Advisory Committee, who had concerns of households not having enough space for their carts. I wanted to remind committee members that our current basic level of service includes up to 4 carts. So it's 2 mixed waste carts and up to 2 organics in 65 or 35 gallons. The new service will also be 4 carts, but mandatory 3 trash, recycling, organics, and they can get a second organics for free. But these will be offered in 3 sizes, 35, 65, and 90 gallons to accommodate the needs and space constraints residents may have. Just in talking with staff, the proposed amendment was discussed, but we wanted to hear from the committee and see if that's something you're comfortable with or if there were any other ideas.
Well, I thought that David had not been enforcing, carts up by the house. I think that I thought he had said that as long as they get them off of the, off the street and, I don't know, what's that strip called along the front of the street?
Curb and sidewalk?
Yeah,
easement.
to
It's
get them
the
behind
easement, public
get them behind the
easement.
sidewalk, then he doesn't interact with that group. So I'm in favor of the changes that you're proposing.
I see Rosemary has her hands up. Rosemary, a comment?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
I would use some discretion in that once you start easing it up, it can just quickly go out of hand. Like everybody has the neighbor who, or at least maybe I have a neighbor whose cart is still out there from yesterday afternoon and what might be there for another day or so. So I would make it that they have to go through a special process if they want an exemption. And of course, you can use a Google map to
Yeah,
see
okay.
if that will work or not. And then also I would be interested in hearing possibly from David to see what the city says on this, because oftentimes cities will have ordinances about what they expect residents to do. So I don't know if David can answer that or Scott. Or
Yeah,
Nabila.
David, can you answer that question?
Yes, sir. The city does have an ordinance, and I've reached out to them for basically habitual offenders. And the city will intervene and send them notices that they need to remove that from public view, i.e. Either behind the fence or some kind of a barrier so that you cannot see them. And President Noonan is correct. And I think other cities have it where as long as it's at least, on the side of your garage is acceptable. In front of your garage door, I don't know. I think that's going to be a problem. And a lot of people are going to get, lazy and just figure, you know what, I don't have to put them away now. And that's going to affect the community. I currently live in a city that doesn't really enforce that. And I don't think Midway City has an enforcement officer. And so they use them to block parking, never put them away. And it's an eyesore, unfortunately, for the community.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. And I agree with Rosemary. I don't mind some changes to the ordinances, but I think if we if we start allowing too many exemptions and too many variances, and we're going to create some headaches. I think we need to be congenial and allow people that have hardships. And I can tell you right now that the lady who lives across the street from me, her cart is in the middle of her driveway up by her garage. She's not able to move it, so my wife and I move it for her sometimes. But the point is, they are an eyesore, and David knows better than any of us because he sees it all the time. I think we need to try to stick to what we have currently as close as we can, and do allow some things that will help people. The city, I know in the alley behind me, and I brought this up a number of times at meetings, the city made all those fourplexes put their, whether they're in a bin or individual carts, they have to have them in a built enclosure, right? I don't want us to go around telling people they have to build enclosures next to their house, because that's going to look even worse. But I'd like to see us try to stick to as close to what we currently have as possible.
Well, yeah, but I would say that what David has, what the code enforcement officer, the interim code enforcement officer has done in the past, that will be the letter of the law. It's, as far as compliance. If we, and so there won't be 10 residents know that this ordinance has been changed. I mean, there may be 25 because there's board members, there's CAC members, and there's whomever. But the code enforcement officer's key, to key to this process, because he's out there every day. And so he teaches what's right and wrong. And he will be teaching what's right and wrong in the future. And we, if we stray very far from what he is doing in the community, that's when we'll catch or make them angry.
So are you okay considering Rosemary's suggestion of some kind of special process, rather than just being arbitrarily determining if it's exempt, we have some kind of process they have to go through? Maybe they have to request for an exemption, or are you okay just letting the code enforcement making that decision?
Well, irrespective of what our ordinance says, the code enforcement officer is really the only one. Yeah, and once in a while, a citizen will call in and have a question, or call in something on their neighbor. But he's 95% of what people. He's going to teach 95% of what's right and wrong in his determination of what the ordinance says.
Sure. Yeah, it's right. It's his interpretation, correct.
But I Scott, your comment about agreeing with Rosemary, yeah, I think if we've got extenuating circumstances, we need to recognize those and help wherever we can. But hopefully that'll be at a minimum. I guess we won't know until it happens.
Okay.
I have a comment, and part of this is going to fall under the city side because of where I live. But I know that there are people, I think, that are in the district area that this might apply to. I live in an area where we have alleys that run through the back, and there's dumpsters. There's no enclosures for any of the dumpsters in the alleys because of when these places were built. There are enclosures on the end units. So if you're driving by the alley and there's a dumpster, you can't see it from the street. But once you're in the alley, all bets are off. You can see dumpsters everywhere. That's going to fall under, obviously, the city side. The places I'm referring to are some of the ones that were built, I don't know, say in the last 10 years, where they built these residences that you pull, and it looks like an alley. It's more of like a dead end long driveway that has all these homes built in kind of a U shape. don't we have people in our district right now that are serviced by CR&R that live in there? Or are those considered multifamily, even though they were put in the middle of the city, like on the east side? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yes, so those are called Infill Developments, and we do service them because it only has one dead-end street, or the trucks don't go on it. All the residents have to pull the carts onto the street.
Okay.
And I did
So
get
if the-
a car recycle, or even those 3-story condos. When looking into exemptions, car recycle told me no, because when SB 1383 was rolled out, Cal Green requirements were also updated that require builders to allow enough space in the garages to allow for the 3 carts.
Okay, so they would be responsible for putting them inside their garage.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, my son lives in the condo complex on Fairview, the big Monticello. And they don't have an organics cart, but they have, I think, 2 mixed waste carts, and they are required to keep them in their garage. So I assume that, you know, you drive down Placentia or you go over by Trader Joe's off 17th Street, those mega complexes, they're required to keep them in their garages, right, Nabila?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Tough one.
I just didn't know how many people actually did. Because like where I live, everyone has a garage. They don't even park in it. People don't even park in their garage.
Well,
So around
Michael-
here, I'm not sure how they're going to do it really, because the city is radio silence as it applies
Yeah.
to that. So
I live in Mesa Verde and I have a 2.5 car garage or 2 car garage, whatever it is. My garage has never seen a car. It wouldn't know what to do with a car if I pull them in there, right, Sue?
well, that's your man cave out there.
That's my man cave, that's right.
Yeah,
But in your defense, you have a driveway and you have space in front of your house to park. The people that live around here do not.
Yeah, I know, you're right.
And so I like the specific area that I live in, which is, it's pretty sizable. It doesn't really have a lane to deal with a lot of the issues that are going to come up.
Yeah.
And I know it's, like I said, it's not under your purview, but.
You know, part of,
Thank you, Sue, for bringing that up. I think this is great to add to our outreach for the communications team for these infill developments and the condo complexes of what the expectations are with getting a 3rd cart, and kind of doing like an FAQ section just for them where they can get their questions answered, what the state requires, and how their home was built to accommodate the 3 carts.
yeah. You know,
And I think I'm just going to have to go to meetings as a resident, not representing obviously the Citizen Advisory Committee or anything. I'm just going to have to start going to the city council meetings and bringing this up, because they're not addressing it. They might be in an office somewhere, but nobody out in the world knows anything about it.
well, in that regard, they just lost their sustainability manager. Has that position been replaced? I mean, right now it's critical to have, that was her job.
I
think-
heard they're recruiting it, but I don't know if it's been filled. That's gonna take some time.
Well, it seems like a critical time to get going, but
Well, I know, but I mean, it's gonna take at least like a month to recruit, probably another month of interviewing, background checks, and it's just a process of hiring someone.
you're right.
And Bob, just a comment, kind of back to the situation with carts and storage, and people are going to be sensitive when they don't have enough room to store their carts. But as we do part of our education process, back to the B1 topic, I know personally, when I get my recycling cart, I'm not going to need 2 mixed weights carts like I have now. as we do that education process, maybe part of our message should be, hey, you're getting another cart. If there's any way to replace one that you've already got, like a mixed waste cart, please let us know so we can take that away from you. And I think the fact that they're going to be charged for that second one will help with that, correct?
Yes, that'll get their attention.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Okay,
And Mike, I think you hit the nail on the head. It really is about right sizing, because you don't need as many landfill carts if what you're sending out of your home is going into recyclables, and if you're using your organics cart properly. So I think that's a good way to sell this system.
It's funny that I think we're really going to be impacted, and I think CRR is going to have a huge impact from cardboard recycling. I had a friend yesterday make a comment. She said that she gets a call from Amazon every other day if she hasn't placed an order that day, and it just kind of indicates. I think we're going to see a lot of cardboard coming out of those mixed waste carts, and hopefully going in the blue cart. It's going to have I think it's going to have a big impact on the community.
well, the goal actually is, I think the way Scott or Nabila explained it earlier, is that we're going to get a new recycle cart. I think it's a black one. And the expectation is that you give up one of your mixed waste carts, and it can be, the size can be different. The size, it can be right sized if you need a bigger one. So I think that's the way we sell this, and basically then they're the majority of the people, if we get them to follow that process, is there will be no more carts for them to handle.
Could be.
President Nguyen, that would be the idea, that their organics and recycling are 90 and 65, and if they are correctly sorting, there's not much trash left over. So
Yeah.
ideally, that would be the 35-gallon cart. So again, you have 3 carts, but then you have a smaller one, or maybe 2 smaller ones, depending on the household situation, to help with the storage.
Yeah, I get about
see-
4 gallons of mixed waste now in my cart, so I'm gonna need 2 smaller carts. Because I presently recycle everything to Orange Coast College, and that can be recycled.
I've noticed in these communities that have 3 and 4 carts now, and again, I'll defer to Rancho Santa Margarita. They're all the same size, right?
I think so.
Don't most communities that have more than 1 cart, they all get, we're giving a mix of sizes, which is a better way to accommodate our ratepayers, but the communities that have more than 1, they're all the same size.
Right.
Yeah, you're right, Mike. Yeah, no, I think you're dead on. Yeah.
I would add to that our contract with CRNR allows for exchanges. So residents could try a size and figure, hey, I don't need that much space, or I think I need a little bit more space, and they could return their carts without penalty.
Yeah.
For the correct size. So again, that gives residents, I think, a little more wiggle room to explore their options.
Yeah.
Is there going to be any sort of discussion on, I know the rates obviously aren't set in stone yet, and you guys are going to have a hearing because they're going to change. Is there going to be any option or opportunity for a tiered rate system for people who want smaller carts because they generate less waste, or is that not even going to be part of the discussion?
It was discussed, but it's just to keep track of the different rates on the assessments. I think it's easier if we just did it on a billing cycle, but because we do everything on assessments, it makes it a little more challenging for us to do that. So it was discussed, but we are not moving forward with that program.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think we have our directions, Mr. President. So
Are there any other inputs from the ad hoc committee?
Just, I'd like to see, I don't know what the schedule is for us to meet again, but hopefully we can meet, maybe in September, Scott, after they start the audit.
sure.
And maybe at that meeting in September, we can get to be, I don't know if they'll have any statistics for you, but maybe some kind of beginning numbers on what the audit is finding.
We'll have Nolani set that up.
Okay.
Well,
Does
also
that
I had
work,
a,
Bob?
I had a thought, you can use a professional Google Earth probably to find out what 80% of the people have. It doesn't change that often, but I guess it depends on the number of people who put them in the garage, but I would suspect a high percentage of them, put them along beside the garage or beside the house. And so if you can get an expert in the professional Google Earth thing, I think you can find the number of carts. It'd be an alternative way to check on the number of carts that are out there.
No, here's what we do, Bob, is we start a new division at the Sand District, and we start a drone system, right? So
Well,
we have David maybe use a drone and fly over everybody, and let's see how many phone calls we get from people who are having their privacy invaded by our new drone system. Should we try that?
I think we should start that in your neighborhood.
I have nothing to hide.
Well, Google Earth doesn't cost the Google Earth Pro does not cost very much. And
I'm obviously being facetious, but
yeah, I hear you.
I'm really curious to see how how the audit plays out.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, okay. Any other input from the ad hoc committee members? Or questions from staff? If not, I really appreciate the staff's plan. There's an old saying that I've used a lot, and that an ounce of planning is worth a pound of cure.
You have a lot of old sayings. Does that have anything to do with your age, or is that just your experience?
Well, no, it's just mine, very knowledgeable.
Well,
I
I'm going to echo what you said. This was a really good meeting. This was more information than I expected, and I appreciate that. And to our two CAC members, thank you for your input. I mean, that's why I was in favor of the CACs. It's for stuff like this where you guys can contribute and wake us up a little bit. So thank you to everybody. It was really good.
Has this meeting been recorded?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Were you afraid of something to be recorded?
Yes, we're recording.
Well, it may just be recorded internally.
No,
it's not-
our ad hoc meetings are open to the public.
Okay, so, I'm not saying it's good, bad, or indifferent. I just was, just a question, but.
Yeah.
So I think unless there's no other questions or input, thank you all for your participation and a lot of good suggestions. And this meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you, sir.
Bye.